Hey everybody, welcome back to the Quinn Film Behind the Scenes channel, and today we're going to be talking about cinematography. So this is a $250 to $300 camera, and I've had it for about 2 years now, since 2019. Got it for my birthday. I haven't switched this camera in a really long time. I love this thing, and I've been using it for about, like I said, 2 years now. If you look back at when I first started using this camera to now, you can really see like the difference and how much I've improved in necessarily my skill. Well, I've still been using the same lens and the same camera and the same gear. It's a little weird, and I was like, why is this? And it's actually about the skill. So you know, you might have a smartphone, say a smartphone, or you might have a digital SLR like this one, and you don't really have the skill to shoot engaging cinematic videos, and you want to learn how. And I'm not saying that I have the best skill in the world or anything. Like, I have so much to learn. Next year at this time, I'm going to be looking at this video, I'm going to be like, oh my god. But I just want to show you what I've learned over the course of 2 years, and I've been shooting on this camera. And yeah, this is going to mainly apply to people who have digital SLRs, but this will work with smartphones as well. I know the iPhone 12 shoots like 4K and Dolby Vision. It's like crazy, I can't believe it, and people should really be harnessing that energy. And yeah, but a lot of the time it'll look really bad, even if you shoot 4K Dolby Vision. You need the skill, and a lot of the time I was like, we're gonna be talking about everything cinematography, not photography, cinematography, the art of moving motion video. So out of everything in filmmaking, I love visual effects. That's probably my main top thing, and then cinematography. I'm a really big fan of cinematography, always have been, cameras and all that stuff. And I guarantee if I went out and just bought a red camera right now and I started using it, I don't think the results would be that different from this camera that I'm using, because it really does depend on the skill. Like, a lot of people just go out and buy the latest gear and the latest tech, and really what they need to be working on is not necessarily the gear they have, but the skill and how they shoot. And it's gonna be a little bit different to the Quinn Films Behind the Scenes channel, but I think you guys will all really enjoy it. I hope you learned a lot in this video. We're also not only going to be talking about skill, but other gear and other accessories that you can get for your camera, like an external microphone. We're mainly going to be talking about picture quality, but sound quality is also a very important thing. And the built-in mics on these cameras, they're not very good. They're definitely not studio quality, so we're going to be talking about all this stuff here on the Quinn Films Behind the Scenes channel today. So yeah, I hope you enjoy. Okay everybody, so here I am, and I'm actually going to be looking at some of my older projects versus some of my newer projects, and looking at kind of the differences between the two. So the first project that I shot with my Canon camera here was Clone. You might have heard of it. It's a series that I do with my good friend Goat Productions. I'll have the link to his channel down in the description. When I was very young, and we kind of collaborated together to make this series, this grand idea that we had in our head that went on for multiple seasons. And it was just crazy, and we might still make it. We had to stop during COVID, and our actors aren't really that involved anymore, but don't really want to do it. They've kind of gone on to different paths now, but no, it might happen. You never know. I'm keeping my fingers crossed. So yeah, let's look at, let's say, the episode 2. And we're going to break it down almost, and break down some of the cinematography, and definitely how I've improved later. So we're not going to look at all the bad visual effects, all of that craziness. We're actually going to look at the cinematography, because that's what we're talking about today. So, right off the bat here, this was actually a pretty cool shot, and it was definitely enhanced a lot in post-production with the focus and the spotlight, but this looked way not nearly as good as this, and that goes to show how post-production really can improve your clips, especially color grading and visual effects and all that stuff. So boom, look at this shot. Awful lighting. We got this big light up here. It's way too bright. And the shadows, they're bad. And the grain. I don't know what the ISO is set to, but it was way too high, because look at all this grain. And everything's out of focus. I know that the focus line is not actually where it's supposed to be. It's kind of over a little bit behind them, I feel like the focus line is, because the clones are not in focus. They're a little bit out of focus. Just a little bit, but definitely throws you off. This whole shot doesn't look necessarily too good. The framing, I have to say, is pretty good. I would have kind of shifted it to show more of that back clone there, but it's pretty good. Obviously, that's not nearly in focus. Like, that's awful. It's not in focus. Look at all that grain we got there. God, it's bad. Let me cut back to that other shot that I filmed. That's actually a perfect shot there, the one that we just passed. That one there is awesome, because we kind of have Shay in the background. He's a little bit out of focus, but the clone is really what's in focus, and he doesn't really need to be in focus there. It would be good if they were both in focus, but that's really hard to do. Not perfect, a little bit of grain there. Again, the lighting's not very good in this scene, but the focus is good in this shot. Oh, and you got this shot. And then that is just out of focus. Like, what are you talking about there? Like, that's so out of focus. It's just like, I don't know what I was thinking when I approved this shot. And the lighting, the shadows, they're just, and that shot, that's like way out of focus. That's good. Of course, that was in focus. But all this, it's out of focus, and I feel like focus is one of the big issues here. I really had all this shots out of focus. Focus and lighting. So I would have never shot with those overhead lights on. Okay, then this is a cool shot, but it's really weirdly framed. Because if you really look at the rule of thirds, this shot would have been way better if it was just shifted to the left just a little bit, so we could kind of get me in the center. These clones are way too weirdly spread out. Like this one's a little bit closer to the master, and that one's a little bit further away. If we just shifted the frame and we actually used the grid mode on the camera, this shot had so much potential. Again, the lighting's really bad, and look at all this stuff in the background. We got shoes down there, speaker up here, the TV behind them. Like, it just frustrates me. That's way out of focus. I don't know what I was thinking there. That's good, but weirdly framed. We got too much headspace there. Way too much headspace. If the camera was down, that would have been a lot better. So, sit down here. It's okay, but again, these shots, you can really tell that they didn't put a lot of care into them. That one's way too overexposed. The ISO is way too high. The ISO is set way too high in all these shots. It needs to be way dark. Also needs to be color corrected. None of this was color corrected. That's way too overexposed again. That one's way too much. We all have too much headspace here. Now that shot, I will say, this shot here that I'm looking at, that shot's actually pretty good. You got the grid mode, and you can really see that the reason that it doesn't have too much headspace on me is because we get the clone, which is a little taller, which would really make it. Well, I guess I'm sitting down there, so we get the clone. That shot's actually probably one of the best in this episode. That one's good, as you can see. That one's way too much headspace. Way too much headspace. And then we got the TV in there, which is just kind of weird. Okay, this action sequence is pretty good. That, again, it's really out of focus, and the alignment isn't done correctly. Out of focus. Then this outside shot, it's done a lot better because we got the outdoor lighting, and the outdoor lighting was a lot easier to do. But again, the ISO was set way too high. And another problem that I noticed in my older movies is I never cleaned my lens. All right, this is a really big issue because when I first got the lens, it had stuff all over it. As you can see, this little dot down here, and in other shots, there's like stuff in the lens and stuff. And it's just really easily avoided. Just clean your lens. I should actually get back to cleaning my lens. I cleaned it once, and I got all that stuff off of it. Haven't touched it again, but really improved my later projects. As you can see, there's not very much stuff on the lens. There's a little bit of stuff on the lens in The Perfect Day. I didn't like that too much, but a lot less, especially that big dot that I had there. And it was only in the outdoor shots, I think it's when a lot of light came onto the lens that it showed up. But yeah, so we can kind of tell how much I've improved. Now let's look at one of my newer projects, which, let's say, The Perfect Day. It's my latest short film. And thank goodness, everybody, for getting it to 300 views. It's just a dream come true. This is one of the most popular videos on my channel. If we can get to 1,000 views, I'm probably going to make a sequel. I'm going to make a sequel otherwise, but if we can get it to 1,000 views, that would just be awesome. So just share the link with everybody you know and all that. Really, it's the best way to support me here on Quinn Films. I really love all the support that has gone into The Perfect Day. I think it's some of my best work, for sure. So right off the bat, we got this perfect scene set up. We have the Perfect Day logo right in the middle of the shot. Now, yeah, I know there's a lot of grain here and stuff, but the shot does adjust. And as you can see, I cleared off everything in the frame. There's nothing, I only have what's necessary for the story, which is really important. As you can see, we have a lamp right here. We have me in the middle of the shot. We have a little bit more room for this lamp over here because we want to use the rule of thirds, which I'll get to a little bit later in this video. But again, right off the bat, I walk, if you want to go watch the behind the scenes of this video, I go into really big detail on how I set up this shot here. The lighting is really important. As you can see, we got some morning light here. I'm in the center of the frame. We got these hallways coming on each end. Lines are another very important thing on cinematography because our mind automatically connects with lines. So when we got a lot of lines, as you can see, we have some lines for the hallway. It's very important. As you can see, I put a lot of thought into this. It wasn't like I just got my camera out and pressed the recording button. I put a lot of thought into making this exact shot. And thought and care is really important. It's not necessarily how much faster you make the shot, but how much attention and detail you give it. And just experiment with different things, Shoot one shot off to the side. Shoot one shot a little bit out of focus. Shoot one shot in focus. Just do all this crazy stuff if you have the time. And that way, you have so much stuff to choose from. And it's just better. So everybody, after looking at those clips versus my older films versus some of my newer films, I thought I'd showcase what I've learned by looking at that and creating an epic cinematic shot. So yeah, that's what I did. I went out and I filmed a cinematic scene. I filmed it actually in 3 different ways. I filmed one that was out of focus. I filmed one that was out of focus and it was just weirdly framed. And I filmed one that was just perfect in my mind, and I thought that looked, center of the frame and everything. And yeah, I thought I'd add some cool visuals to that scene as well to make it seem even more cinematic. So first thing I did is made a mask around an eye, then I tracked that mask, and then I brought in a glow effect to it. I dropped in a glow to that mask, then I changed the glow color to red, brought up the intensity, and boom, you have a red eye effect. And I just did that to the other eye. And then I went ahead and brought that into DaVinci Resolve, and then I brought in that stuff I did in After Effects, and I experimented with some color, just making, experimenting, changing, doing some simple color grading. Then I brought in some music, and boom, there you go. I had an epic cinematic shot. So everybody, hope you liked the video. I know it was something a little bit different for the Quinfilms Behind the Scenes channel, and sometimes different's cool, sometimes different's cool. I wanted to do this because I really looked at some of my older projects and was like, this is bad, and I filmed on the same lens and the same camera, and I really wanted to try to show you some cinematography tips. I hope you learned some stuff. If you didn't, that's totally cool. I mean, yeah. So if you liked the video, remember to subscribe if you want to. If you didn't like the video, then don't subscribe. I mean, I'm not forcing you to subscribe. I'm just saying if you like the content, I would really recommend you subscribing. A good chunk of you guys that watch this apparently aren't subscribed according to this YouTube thing. So it'd be really good if you could subscribe. That would just be awesome. Thank you. And yeah, I hope you have an amazing rest of your day, and bye.